All right. I did a sound test. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. And I am kind of being quiet. The K, Jersey, is sleeping, and I do not want to awaken her. Okay, so anyway, and I did a sound check. It sounds okay. I'm just not going to say anything sudden or loud or... All right, so moving right along. Jersey sent me this. It's a video, YouTube. I'm going to do screenshots from it, so shout out to Global Economic Reset 2018. I think that's a channel. Hopefully I took a screenshot of the actual video. I always try to do that. This is written by, allegedly, and it sounds real, a Venezuelan who has lived through the economic collapse there. So, and there you see a nicely done 55-gallon drum. Looks like you could make about 3 shields out of the drum. Nice improvised defense weaponry. Shield is a weapon. Protection is a weapon. If you can survive, you can fight. All right, so Antifa, is that right? Anti-fascist, yeah. Causing a lot of havoc up here in this country, and that's probably what's going on there. A lot of people in black. You'll notice the Pazgat helmets. The 2 guys there to the left in the foreground. Personal, whatever that stands for, personal armor, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, P-I-S-G-A-T. So anyway, a lot of black in there. Okay, so regardless of that. So this is a Venezuelan prepper looks back. Things I would have done differently if I knew what was coming. Ooh. Now, let me tell you something. What's happened there, what's happened in Argentina, what's happened in Bosnia, what's happening now in South Africa, and has been since 2001. No, since way before that, but 2001 was the last time they released statistics of white Christian farmers who have been raped, murdered, boiled, burned, cut open, alive, cannibalized, whatever. So what's happened in other countries is going to happen here in America. I had a man who wrote me, who got on a group that I was writing on. He knew I was writing on it. He found me. He wanted to see what I was really made of. His name was Patrick Greenshield. He had done business in every nation of the world, basically. He had traded for Chubb. It's a big insurance company. C-H-U-B-B. And he got in that group, Alt Market, just so he could interact with me and see how I really was, because he liked what he'd read of me. Well, he said some pretty extreme things. He said that what's happening in Spain is what is going to happen to America. And he says, you in America are fat and dumb and lazy. And he took a lot of heat. That's just one thing he said. I mean, he said some things that maybe were, he was deliberately poking a little bit. But everything he said was true, and I jumped in and I defended him. And then he introduced himself. He said, hey, I got on here just to talk to you. So, very interesting. We wrote back and forth quite a bit. But his comment that what is going on in Spain here now is going to happen in America. And he really wanted to come to the Ozark Plateau. He, long story. Not going to go into it. All right, so had he known what was going to happen in Spain, would he have moved there? Oh, hell no, he wouldn't have moved there. He would have moved to the Ozark Plateau and just pulled in his horns and rearranged his finances and made like people are doing now, got a tiny house and lived with it. Because now it's illegal to grow a garden. Illegal to grow any food in Spain where he's at. So, all right. Venezuelan pepper looks back. Things I would have done differently if I knew what was coming. Now you see the little green thing there on the word back? This is kind of like, this video was, like a bouncing Google ball, No. I'm not even going to start on that story. Okay. Like karaoke. Every word that the computer voice was reading that. So this video is probably going to end up being longer than the actual original video, but what the hell? I want to do it. Okay. And I'm not going to read the whole thing just because you can listen to it being read to you as you read it yourself. But I wanted to make some comments on some major parts here. Now, the stuff in yellow is just what happened to be up when they were reading it. Okay, got that? All right. I'm not going to necessarily read everything that's in yellow. Okay. Okay. So having overcome a few personal incidents that rocked the boat these last few weeks, I want to write now about one of the most important experiences regarding the psychological aspect of prepping, and that is one thing that I have been saying forever. That's why I started out on the course that I did, and it's why I am where I am right now, and that is if you can't prepare physically, at least you can prepare yourself mentally and emotionally by reading about historical accounts, reading history, reading historical biographies, reading, historical novels, and reading science fiction, reading post-toasty books, and that's what I did. And after doing that for about 13 years, I was ready to quit prepping. And it was then that I kind of woke up a second time. As they say, I woke up, God woke me up, 1993, and started going whole hog, 100%. Shut the TV off, never watched another TV show as far as I remember. Didn't watch any more Denver Bronco football games, nothing. Boom. Went whole hog, full force, balls to the walls, pedal to the metal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, so this guy's kind of bemoaning the fact that, yeah, he could have done more. And you'll note, just look at this. I mean, he did a lot of stuff. I mean, he had way beyond what most of us would ever even able to do. Generators, water tanks, storage capacity, dry supplies, blah, 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 off-road vehicle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so, boom. Next page. Down there at the bottom, yeah, this is interesting. I lack a little bit in the field of manual arts like pottery or painting, but maybe it's just me. I can change a tire in record time, which is an art by itself, especially in a Venezuela where the roads are plagued with thugs. So, good point. Okay. Now, this is one of the main points to get out of this. But next, we have to try to imagine what could be on the horizon that we have never considered. This is what he wants to get across to you. You that's listening to this right now. I am not talking about prepping for every conceivable threat. That's just not possible nor practical. What I want is that you imagine what your course of action would be just in case your worst scenario, one so bad you could not even imagine, takes place. Okay, so you can't imagine it, but he wants you to try to imagine. Okay. So he's got a lot of, other videos and books and whatever. But so he had this pretty nice life, blah, blah, blah. It was all great until the apocalypse started. Well, this was the Venezuelan apocalypse. We're not into the apocalypse yet, not here in America. Life is still normal. You can still be fairly comfortable if you haven't lost everything already. And for a lot of people, it's not comfortable. A lot of people in California are homeless. A lot of people in Texas are homeless. A lot of people in Florida are homeless, and they ain't never going to have a home again. As long as they live, they're going to be homeless, even though they had a McMansion and a $500,000 a year income. They're broke, they're homeless, they have nothing. Realize that. If you're living on a $10,000 a year income, $50,000 a year income, $100,000 a year income, there's people that had a hell of a lot more than you did that are penniless, homeless, broke, and they're never going back. We are living already in Teotwaki, the world as we know it, the end of the world as we know it. All right? So, and of course, he says, the more I realize this, the more I realize it was a planned action. Duh. Like, hello. So we had, things going on. We have things going on in this country. We are living in a time, have been living in a time, as if I could write a trilogy, it would be, the first book would be titled Delirium. We've been living in a time of, we have been in a delirious state, induced by media, all forms of media, by drugs, both legal and illegal, almost more by psychotropic, and NSAIDs and, a lot of over-the-counter stuff, but a lot of prescription drugs, pharmakia, witchcraft, okay, altered your brain. Yes, illegal drugs as well, but, and then water supplies, iodine is what your thyroid is supposed to take in. No, that's healthy for you. So let's use chlorine to purify the water, which will go into your thyroid, and bromine to bleach bread instead of iodine, because that will go to your thyroid, and fluorine to treat the water with, which will go to your thyroid and will calcify your pineal gland and will basically make you a drooling mental midget of a moron. So don't drink the water. So now, top there it says, definitely the most alarming warning sign was the food rationing. This was the cherry of the pie, okay? So food rationing was, in that case, the big warning sign. Now, if you sit down and read this, and I've read it, once while the guy was talking, I just shut the sound off and just read it. It reads almost like We Interrupt This Program, Lights Out novel. The most alarming sign was food rationing. This was the cherry of the pie. A lot of it is because of the language change and the translation effect, but it reads almost like a fictitious novel. Okay, they started with the education system, recounting history. We've been through that. Okay, fight against the imperialism was their motto, whatever that was. Many of the fanatics, when asked, they hesitate and mention the United States, etc., the Anglo-Saxon Empire, the USA. Never defined their borders, never could identify that enemy. So, and that is not surprising given the general level of education in the barrios, in the slums, in the whatevers, suburbs where these people used to live. Because of a comment I made on the Saw video recently, Porcupine Ranch John and I had just a brief interaction on the subject of cannibalism. And he commented about the time in Chinese history when cannibalism was rampant because of starvation, mass starvation. And I commented back, yes, on the Long March specifically, I had heard, and I could not find any verification of this online, but I read a history of the Long March, and it said they started off with X number of people. It was like an army, as I recall, part of the army was 20 to 50,000. But that was like the Sixth Army. There were several groups of people that went on this march. They were evading the KMT, the Kuomintang. And moral of the story is that it says a total of 200,000 that were fighting, evading guerrilla warfare over a length of 6,000 miles from the southeast of China to the northwest of China. 6,000-mile fighting withdrawal. Point being is, when it was over, there was one woman left, Mao Zedong's wife. No children. They left. If a woman had a child, they just left it. They did not take children. Some of them they left with other people. Some of them they just left to die. So no children were allowed to slow them down. The point, when I read the history, and like I said, I did a bit of research today and I couldn't find anything, but it said that the women and children, the cats and dogs and everything were all eaten to sustain the forward march. So true or not, don't know, but it fits the facts of the rest of that time and what was going on in history in China. Okay. He makes a comment down at the bottom there. I'm about to puke. Okay. All right. So, this is as things are deteriorating, things are getting worse, hyperinflation begins, you don't have a place to go. Situation daily living did not allow you to build a compound in a safe place that was large enough for being sustainable. Now, beat that into your head. Write that on the tablets of your heart with a pen of a diamond, a point of a diamond, pen of iron and a point of a diamond. That is the problem. Now, I'm not just talking about he's talking about a compound. One particular place, a fenced place, whatever, defended place. And like in Lights Out, they had a compound. They developed a place large enough with enough people that was sustainable. Okay, they survived. The ranch was not large enough, even though they had plans and allowances for 25 men, 25 families. They thought that was enough. Nope. Multiply that times 6, times 10, and they would have had the correct answer. Okay, but my point is that the Ozark Plateau, 50-some thousand square miles, is large enough that no matter what happens in the world, no matter what happens, given Earth changes and everything else, it has everything needed to sustain life for a massive amount of people. Okay. But burn that into your head. The situation gets worse every day. Prices in electronics, paying by a bank transfer much higher than in cash, but it's impossible to get cash. People are calling to their day jobs to quit because they can't get there. Salaries are not enough to make a decent living. Or you're professional. You can't make it there either. All right. So what do you have to do? You have to think outside the box to survive in bold. I have foreseen that for decades now. You had better be able to think outside the box. Solve problems, use something that is serviceable as something else, plug a leak, patch a tear, whatever, figuratively or realistically. Think outside the box. If you keep thinking inside the box and hoping for that things will change, will improve, good luck. Chances are that is not going to happen that way. On the contrary, leaving out early will give you an edge over the rest of the people. Okay? And this is one of the biggest points that he's making, because this is what happened in his life. If you are a prepper, there comes a point after your preps have been consumed, there is no way to keep living in order to survive. We have to make choices. Okay, I'm going to stop here because I don't want this thing I don't want to lose it. So.